We haven't had an outbreak of foot and mouth disease. Well, the last one was back in the 1800s, so we really don't know how it would behave if we got it in. If we did get it in, it would have a huge impact on our trade. Our international markets would close down overnight.
So it's ADIS, Australian Animal Disease Model.
What really stands out with ADIS is that it also has a very easy and nice user interface. So you can watch an outbreak or the disease spread in real time as it's playing out. So it's a really powerful tool to being able to not just understand the outbreak as it progresses, but as a training tool. As far as I'm aware, no other animal simulation model can do that.
That it's very agile because it's small and tight and can rerun a scenario 1,000 times and get much better statistical convergence in the distribution of the outcome.
It's been a very close collaboration between the Department of Agriculture and UNE at the University of New England.
The model was used in a United Nations workshop in Italy and all over Europe that got to use ADIS, and so served as a nice informal validation of the model as well.
My name is Graham White. I'm an Assistant Commissioner at the Australian Taxation Office. I've had the pleasure of being the project lead for the MyTax project. MyTax is a streamlined tax return experience for individuals with relatively straightforward tax affairs. Their tax information and income information is pre-filled into their tax return, making it a very streamlined experience. It's also an online experience. People can complete their returns for the first time on a tablet or on a smartphone. I think the things that helped make it successful was collaboration. There were over 50 people who were involved in the development. They were from all parts of the ATO. We used it as an exercise to bust down any silos that there were. It's a huge red tape saving for the community. It's estimated that over $150 million a year has been saved by the community. Some people it's only taking them 5 minutes to lodge their tax return. We wanted to improve the client experience and we were able to do that.
The way that service delivery has traditionally been done in government is on an agency-by-agency basis. Now, of course, this makes it very hard to integrate those services across agencies and especially across jurisdictions. Some of the work I'm doing at the moment in my current role is looking at how to actually get a view of the user experience, anonymised of course, across different agencies, across different channels, and starting to get an idea of what that service delivery environment looks like so that we can make proper improvement. So the second thing that I'm doing is trying to realise the vision around Gov as an API, making everything that government does, or the federal government anyway, discoverable in the first instance, but then increasingly consumable. So we're going through a bit of a transition, I think, throughout government at the moment to shift from an old world approach to service delivery, which is very siloed, to a new world approach, which is about mashable government. You can actually create this rich ecosystem where you write something once, but it's able to be delivered in many places. A practical example of a community approach to mashability is actually GovHack. So GovHack is Australia's biggest hackfest. It is a wonderful community we have in Australia, very, very clever, very technical, and we can do almost anything.
We're talking about the energy rating label, which is the sticker that's found on around 8 million appliances across Australia and New Zealand. The label's got over a 90% recognition in the community, and because of the longevity of the program, I think it's got a very high level of trust in the community as well. The label itself was always designed to be seen by the consumer in the store, in the physical store. With so many more consumers pushing into the online space, that opportunity for the consumer to have the information on the physical label is lessening. What we did was create a handheld app for both iOS, Android, BlackBerry and also web, which converted the kilowatt figure to a dollar figure really quickly. So we created a suite of icons and a suite of graphics which the retailers can download and use for free, either from data.gov or through our own website, ngrating.gov.au. And those icons can be inserted into the existing retail websites. Our appliance energy efficiency data is generally within the top 10 or even the top 3 of most accessed data sets on data.gov.
My name is Matt Fennick and I'm the Director of Continuous Improvement Innovation at IP Australia. There's a great deal of work that involves actually granting a patent. It has to be new, it has to be useful, it has to be different. People are creating around 2.5 million terabytes of data every single day. What we're looking at right now in terms of cognitive computing is trying to sift through this large data that's been created to find out what is actually applicable for that examination. IP Australia has had an engagement with IBM for their cognitive computing technology, Watson. At this point in time, we've started a prototyping exercise with them and we expect that to be delivered by the end of June 2015. Part of what cognitive computing offers us in the examination process is a much more sophisticated search tool to aggregate all of this data and hopefully allow us to provide a high quality and defensible patent.
The Innovation Exchange was set up late last year, launched by the Minister in March this year, to bring innovation to the aid program. What's making it harder is the fact that aid is really dwarfed by other program flows. So we've really got to work at partnering with other organisations, particularly with private sector, to work out how we can work better together to have a development impact. So it's really about accessing what is that company really good at and how do we use that for a development impact. And there's a lot of Australian companies that surprisingly are really, really keen to work with us now that we've sort of put the offer out there. We've also been set up to trial and to test. So really this is a space that people can come and share ideas, share their thought processes, brainstorm it with us, and then by trialling and testing them we create an evidence bank that might influence other areas of the aid program to try something similar or adapt that idea to suit their own country context. So really this is the creativity, trialling and testing part and business hub of EPAC.
So my name's Connor O'Keefe and I'm the manager of the Interactive Learning Solutions team within the Shared Services Centre. LearnHub is essentially it's an online hosting platform where we're able to host online training for government agencies. Agencies can customise it to really do a whole raft of different things. Online learning has been around for a long time, but it's traditionally had a very bad reputation because it hasn't been done very well. What we've developed is something which is really user-friendly, it's very clean. We've taken out a lot of the functionality of a standard learning management system so that things that don't need to be in there aren't in there. We have an interactive security breaches video where people actually go through in a first-person experience, and as they're going through this video they have to try and click on the breaches as they see them. And we've also incorporated a bit of gamification in there as well, so you have a life bar and if you don't click on a correct breach then you lose a point. This is something that's really exceeded our expectations. We now have 23 agencies that have subscribed to it from across the public service, which is over 20,000 public servants. I expect that number will probably double over the next 12 months as well.
I'm Clive Rossiter, I'm the Program Manager for the Single Business Service Program. Fundamentally we're looking at changing the way that the department delivers services to business. Typically a new policy or program is stood up and a whole delivery process will be set up for delivering that, and it's very siloed. Might be really efficient and really good for that one program, but from a customer's perspective it doesn't really align and overlap with the way they were already engaging with the department. The key areas where we're looking at innovating is really in the way we're connecting up our channels, so be that our website, our social media, the contact centre. Fundamental things like anytime a company tells us something about themselves during the process, once we've captured that information, we never ask them for it again, we just reuse it, and that had been a real bugbear for businesses. And the other thing that we're doing there is looking at how we can, if they've participated in a different program that had similar eligibility criteria, how we can easily sort of transfer them across and promote that opportunity to them to say, hey, you've already participated in a different program, this one has similar criteria, it's highly likely you're applicable, we've filled out most of the application form for you. The likelihood of you getting through and being eligible is very high because we've already done some pre-qualification.
If government doesn't innovate, if we don't learn to be responsive and adaptive to what's happening in the world, then we make ourselves irrelevant. So it's pretty simple, adapt or die.
Innovation without trying to do things better or or in a completely different way, we're not going to move forwards.
You really need to, I guess, tackle innovation from the top down and the bottom up. And innovation is not a separate activity, it's actually the way that you go about your day-to-day job.
That's certainly the way we're looking at it. It's part of our approach. It's not it would be nice if we could be innovative. It's essential.
You need to deliver what the community wants and needs. Sometimes there's a tendency for public servants to guess what that is.
There's always this risk that we become very insular in the way that we and are looking at what's around.
The community are demanding more contemporary ways of dealing with government.
Any interaction with government should be easy, should be doable through any platform, it should be available via any medium.
Continue to listen to what the market is telling you about your information and showing that innovation, and then seeing if you can link that to your own program objectives.
How do you get more information out there that actually encourages people to go, well, if I can connect that piece and that piece, I could actually create something pretty exciting.
It's that real wealth of knowledge and cross-sharing that comes together to help us all to improve what we're doing.
Your sandpit is the world. You should be looking at what everyone else out there is doing. You should be building on the shoulders of giants, and you should be getting out there and working with and collaborating with other people.
Creating a physical space that encourages creativity actually brings about a bit more excitement and a bit more energy, and actually encourages people, surprisingly, to talk with each other more.
If they've got a really good idea that they're nurtured and allowed to develop.
My tip and my advice would be prepared to fail.
It's a learning experience, so let them walk away from that and try something new again.
I think it's an exciting and innovating time in government at the moment.
If I can borrow from Google, thinking what's 10 times better that we could do, or what's 10 times the impact I could have that I'm having today, and start from there and kind of work backwards.
You should be trying to innovate, you should be showing what you can do, you should be figuring out how to automate different processes, you should be figuring out how to do things better. How to innovate is pretty simple, just do it.